The best way that I can describe learning how to write a grant is to write a grant. You know, that's just, that is the best training ground you can possibly have, is to just actually dive in and do it. Which is why Jay and I decided to design this certificate program the way we did, which is really a grant development mentoring course, as opposed to an overview of the different elements of grant writing. There's a lot of services out there. You can pay thousands of dollars to get an overview of what it's like to write complicated federal grants, to write foundation grants. But I've learned over the years the best way to do it is just to dive in and do it. And so we've turned this into a mentoring kind of experience and a very hands-on opportunity. And we're able to say that 80% of the grants written by participants have won. So that's pretty good. You know, that's a pretty good percentage. When you get out in the real world, you know, grant writers, when they contract for different facilities, basically say we got a 50-50 shot, you know. But to have students win is pretty exciting and a good thing for us. They're more technical, I think, than anything. There's a little room for art in terms of telling a story, and we'll talk about that. You want to get a visual aspect of a grant, meaning have good graphics and design inside your grant, sometimes pictures, anything that will tug at the heart. But it really depends on the funder as to how you're going to position your proposal, because private family foundations are different than corporate foundations, and those foundations are different than federal opportunities. Federal opportunities are very prescriptive, and state is worse. And by prescriptive, I mean they want what they want in the order that they want it, and there's not a lot of room for creativity. Foundation grants is where you can be a lot more creative.
And it's all about positioning.
It really is. It really is. And telling your story. And so when you can have a nice piece of theory, what the feds are going to is a real evidence-based model, and we'll even look at logic models. And how to support what you want to accomplish in your grant or as your mission with evidence-based theory. You know, it's not that you're creating the wheel, it's not that you're doing research, it's that you're supporting what you're doing. Hey, it's not that I have a great idea and my opinion is valuable, of course it is in the interpersonal world, but when you want somebody to fund that opinion, you have to justify why it will work. And if you've got that research background and that ability to say this is evidence-based and we're going to apply it in this arena with a Latino population that's never been looked at before, that's in. You know, that's what's hot and what gets funded. So we'll help you look at clearinghouses of studies so that you can apply that to the logic model of what you want to do. And even if it's a foundation that doesn't require a logic model, do one anyway, because it'll help you justify what you're writing and make you look real sharp. And it's also building a tapestry of funding, not just a one-time, one-shot grant, but a whole grant strategy.
So would she additionalize that, like, as a requirement under the milestones? Or, you know how you have to set milestones for grants?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be something where she says for the next 10 years, and these are my milestones? And it's a requirement to the grant for it to continue?
3 to 5 years.
Well, I think we're talking about two different things. One is to have a business plan of your dream, you know, and to say these are the kinds of changes I'd like to see on campuses in these specific school districts. And this is what success would look like.
And then, of course, we have to have the administrators
Buy-in,
buy-in.
right.
That's
And then the other thing is then what will fund that? What will fund the different components of that?
yes.
You know, and that takes understanding where the foundations are interested in funding, you know, where the federal work is looking at right now. Part of that is just being well read about what the feds are seeing as hot, you know, and knowing how to align your mission to theirs. And that's where the art part of it comes in, is being able to be a little bit persuasive about, we're going to be able to do, you know, fulfill what your mission is, funder, but we're also wanting to do this other component that fulfills our mission. And that's why I say it's a tapestry of funding. It's not just a one-time shot. There's two ways to do grants, it really is, and budget people look at it differently than narrative people do. And the narrative people write the goals and objectives first, and then, okay, the pie in the sky, if we had all the money in the world, this is what we would want to do. And then the budget person comes in and says, okay, that's realistic, that's not.
This is what you can.
And other people, the budget folks come in and they say, okay, let's start with the budget first. And then we'll describe the narrative, what the budget looks like. So there's two ways to approach it,